Hey, it's Stephane Rothberg with College Recruiter. I am the founder. We believe that every student and recent grad deserves a great career and that it should be easy and efficient for employers to hire them. You probably have noticed that it's Tuesday today. We usually broadcast every other Thursday. For those of our viewers who are in the US, you'll know that this Thursday is American Thanksgiving. And for those of our viewers who are not in the US, just understand that in a few hours, almost no American is going to be paying attention to anything having to do with work until maybe Monday. I am joined by another American. I'm actually a dual citizen, Canadian American. We can get to that in a minute. But Jeanette, want to introduce yourself?
Hello, I am Jeanette Leeds, an American, or as I like to say, a Jersey girl living in New York, getting ready for Thanksgiving. And I am Managing Director, Executive Vice President at AMS. AMS is an RPO, and I, among other things, and I focus on our hourly and high volume solution, mostly in America. And so thrilled to be here today with Stephane, who is not American, but we're still having him on the show.
We like him anyway.
We are all about global. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Well, it's great to be here. Thank you for having me on my show. I'm Stephane Rivard. I'm a Canadian Quebecer, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of HiringBranch. And we work with global enterprises who are focused on improving performance and getting better outcomes for their organizations. And it's great to be here.
Love it. Well, again, thanks for being here. We were talking about earlier, it is Thanksgiving coming up here in the States. And for me, this time of year, I'm always reflecting. It's sort of like the beginning of the holiday season, right? So I'm always reflecting on the past year, but then, starting to think about, 2024, January, all of that stuff. So I know you've been in this space for a long time as well. So I would love to hear your thoughts on, what do you think this landscape looks like in the next year to 2 years, but in this volume hiring and interview space and all of that?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. And it's something that we reflect upon a lot, but we really think in our company that the future is recruiterless recruiting. And what that means is that really focusing on outcomes for employees. And when we say recruiterless, I mean, there's still a key role for the recruiter, but I think all these AI technologies are really much better at doing these initial screens, looking for the skills. And when we talk about skills, we're talking about soft skills. We're talking about the skills that are really driving performance in organizations. And the role of the recruiter really comes up further along the chain. So it's impossible when you're getting 1,000, 5,000. We have customers that get 1 million applicants a year. How can a recruiter actually find out those diamonds in the rough, which sometimes are not what you think in a CV? So we really think that the future is recruiterless.
So the no interviewing aspect is what I thought would be really fun to talk about. I know that at some trade shows, I heard you talking with Shelley Billinghurst and Serge Boudreau from the Recruitment Flex.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, you were at a trade show and you had, was it like F***CK interviews? Our listeners can fill that in as they wish. And so walk us through what a no interview, like what HiringBranch helps employers do. What does a no interview hiring process look like?
Yeah. So, first of all, I have to say that we didn't coin it, our customers did. So we went out to create a platform that really gave candidates a better feel for the job. So when we're talking about the job, they're actually doing tasks and really the most important task for customer facing roles. So we're talking about sales roles in any industry, sales roles, customer service role, healthcare roles, anyone that has to deal with your customers. And the most important skill is those soft skills. So what we do is we put those candidates in a scenario where they actually have to talk to customers and answer customer questions, both spoken and written. And this is very challenging compared to an interview. And really the important thing is that you're testing those skills in context. So, and that really gives the candidate great experience, understanding what the expectations are. And the other thing is that you're actually testing in a very, very granular fashion those specific skills. And we know from all our research that we've been doing throughout the years that writing a pop song and and it needs to be 128 beats per minute, selling is the same thing. There's a formula. And this is what the data we can give back to our customers. So that's what it looks like. It's really focusing on those specific skills in a standardized, unbiased way.
I love that, where it's like, here's the formula. And this, like, talk more about that, like in terms of, I don't know, some of the outcomes or examples, like help bring that to life for, because I'm so fascinated by that as a concept.
Well, it's really, so the way the platform works is that when we started working with some of our early customers, they had some specific business objectives. So you can imagine any organization out there has very specific objectives and they want to impact the bottom line. So when a customer tells us, we need to reduce attrition because I know that when we have attrition, our CSAT scores go down, or they come to us, we want to find candidates who can sell better. Again, so these are hard metrics. So we correlate to their high-performing employees that fall within those, and using an AI framework that analyzes thousands of data points that can then be injected into an assessment that mimics that same kind of work. So it's like a cloning machine, then you run it through the general population or anybody that applies through your LinkedIn or any job board that you have, and you're picking out those candidates with those skills. So imagine for the recruiter, all of a sudden, that these employees that the platform has isolated, that identified, have those skills. So therefore, when you come to interviewing them, it's a lot easier. The interview is no longer trying to figure out if they can do the job. The interview is about cultural fit. The interview is about can they really fit into our organization? And it's much, much more productive, higher value for the recruiters.
So walk me through, if you will, sort of specifically the flow, right? So candidate sees the job posting ad on whether it's LinkedIn, Indeed, College Recruiter, any job board, maybe ATS, wherever. Do they all go to the assessment? Does the employer first screen them and then send 10% or something to that? How do your clients set up the flow?
Yeah, so I think in the future of recruiting, when we're looking in the 12 to 24 months, the first step will always be the assessment. And some of our customers do that. Other ones don't. They do as a second step. So they may have a CV parsing tool, but the ones that get the best outcomes are the ones that they use it as a first step. And interestingly enough, people are very concerned about, people not showing up for the job or not applying. And the customers have deployed this kind of approach, have more candidates than they had in a traditional fashion, which is quite fascinating. And it's supported by the huge body of evidence. Like, it seems that candidates are more, especially these candidates that need these jobs, are more comfortable interacting with an AI agent that gets them a fair opportunity to get the job, that evaluates their real skills instead of their CVs or an interview, which there's lots of bias involved. So that's the dream. And we have a lot of customers doing it that way.
So if I may follow up on that, I remember hearing a month ago, 2 months ago, perhaps it was when you were interviewed on the Recruitment Flex or somebody else on another show, but I remember hearing that women and diverse candidates, African-American, women, for example, are more likely to apply if there's an online assessment versus a human who's assessing them. And I think I'm probably choosing my words a little bit wrong, but it's like they feel like there's less bias.
Correct.
And so they're more likely to actually go further in the process, to choose to go further. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. We're seeing it, with our customers, the kind of candidates they're attracting, though they've told us they would have probably never even given them an interview in the traditional process. Because forever, possibly their CVs, especially when you're talking about high volume, we're talking about hourly workers, they tend to be younger. Their CVs don't really indicate what kind of skills they have. And if they've not worked, there was a great article about hidden workers. There's millions and millions of hidden workers. These people who've been out of the workforce for a long time. They're talking about military spouses, and they have these skills that can drive performance, that can drive results. So they're more feel empowered to be able to interact with a virtual assessment that gives them a fair shake for the job.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think we have time for maybe one more question. What do you? So it's interesting. The beginning, the phrase you had, recruiterless recruiting. Wait, what was that?
Recruiterless recruiting. Yes, I'm out.
Okay, I got it right. So if we think about this, we have the assessment, which is fair and it minimizes bias. I always say minimize because you can't totally eliminate bias.
Sure. Yeah.
Ideally. Do you have customers where they go like straight to that offer? Like where, because there is that place for that human element, right? Where, if it's just, I've seen where if it's just all tech and no human, no person, no recruiter, then there tends to be more ghosting for first day or whatnot. So it's almost like if there's a conversation where it's the sell conversation, like, hey, you got the job, right? It makes them feel good. Like, what are you seeing there in your customer base? And do you have them going straight to assessment, no interview, offer, like
job offer,
just with a human or just, hey, you got the job, great.
Yeah, we have a mix, one of them that comes to mind, they're a sales organization. They will get people do the assessment if they meet their very, very specific metrics they're looking for. And once they pass in their top quartile, they'll extend them an offer. And the offer will be done through an email. Congratulations. Then they'll hire them, offer a job offer. They use our platform to train for a week. And after that point, once the training is done and they pass the training, there'll be an operational interview. So that will be the first time that they'll actually speak to that candidate. And amazingly enough, this is the one that their sales or closing increased by 10% with, evolution of our AI. Now they're even finding top performers that they were never able to do in a manual process. So, and they're the ones who coined the no interview model. Like they're the ones who says, why are we doing this? We're getting better candidates. So so the first time they'll talk to a human is at the end, but we have a variety. Some of them do, have a job fit at the beginning. It depends. But the core of what we do is replacing that core interview to evaluate skills, which is really, we feel, misplaced or misuse of resources for the recruiter.
Awesome. Well, I love the idea of putting the assessment before the application. We've done some of that. We haven't done it consistently, but I remember a few years ago we did that when we were hiring a software engineer. And the ones that we thought just on paper that were going to be the best ended up assessing the worst. And we ended up hiring somebody who we never would have interviewed. And he was fantastic. And so it really helped to surface candidates that what's on their CV or the resume you just didn't see. Jeanette, any closing words before you go and throw the turkey in the oven? And
before I start my Thanksgiving holiday.
I hope you aren't putting the turkey in the oven quite yet, but
no,
soon.
I'm not. I'm actually not. My parents are bringing the turkey.
Nice.
I'll just.
Nice. I'll be over at 3 o'clock on Thursday.
Exactly. 2 o'clock. Apps first.
Okay.
I love this is, this to me is so much the future, right? It's about skills and focusing on facts and skills and not this soft, nebulous, like, oh, they may be good. Like this is where the world is going. So this has been fantastic and so appreciative of you being on our show today.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. And we'd like to wish all our American friends and cousins happy Thanksgiving.
Listen, love it. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Cheers.